country is in a good feel factor mood. Think about it carefully. Everywhere we go, we are going forward. Yes, it's got its challenges at the end of the day, but there is no housing bubble. Right at the end of the day, a housing bubble is when a market's in distress, when the banks were giving 120% mortgages. That's a housing bubble when you're stretching ordinary people. So I welcome what the banks have just done. Let's keep it under control. You know, supply and demand, I've been brought up on. There is more demand than there is supply.
We know that in order to meet the backlog and the future demand, we need to be building something more than 49,000 homes a year. The target figure is 42,000 homes a year. And that's because we don't want to go into an EIP without a serious evidence base that we've got the land to build on. But it is a tension. You know, we do need to think very ambitiously just to get close to the 42,000, because you asked me the question, what are we building at the moment? It varies from year to year, but in a decent year, it's probably around about 25,000 homes a year.
To start with, I actually think it's a very brave decision to set a target which is stretching, but also to admit that that target's still not enough. And politicians rarely take very brave decisions and really stand by them. And I actually think the targets are in a sensible place, which is a good place to start, in that they're probably very tough to achieve. They probably won't quite be met, but they do stretch people's perception of what can be done. But they're not so high that they're completely artificial and could never be contemplated.
And within the next 3 years, will your sector be delivering 42,000 homes a year?
I think you know the answer to that. No, obviously not. I think it will grow. If it can grow to that level, that's great. But to be honest, if you set a target and sort of spend a lot of time focusing on something that is impossible, then you're going to fail to deliver what you can deliver. And I think we can climb up towards that sort of number as long as we stick to some principles and keep driving it through with that same boring word of consistency.
One of the really interesting parts of the dialogue that we've been having with the industry as a whole and with the local authorities is the part that Build to Rent can play in rapid placemaking and the regeneration of these very large multiple-phased sites, in that ultimately institutional investors with a very long-term vision can help the regeneration of these areas by having the longer-term view. I haven't got a handle on the exact number of developers and other house builders and property companies and institutions that are moving into this sector, but what I can say is that in our interactions with the investor community, it's the non-UK investors and the UK investors, we've unearthed aspirations to invest in excess of £10 billion in the build-to-rent sector.